Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a video review. This one's going to be a double review. I take a look at one game and one movie. For the game, I'm going to be taking a look at Path of the Goddess. I have a hard time saying this name. For the Xbox Series X and X, this is being played on the Series S. Game's also available on the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and PC via Steam. And I also want to give my thoughts on Season 1 of Disney Plus's Agatha all along. And if you're interested in any gameplay footage of Path of the Goddess, links will be in the description down below. You can click on the card that will appear up on this video. And for parents out there, it's worth pointing out the Path of the Goddess is rated T for teens, ages 13 up by the ESRB rating, while Agatha All Along, the TV show, is rated TV-14 here in the US. So we'll start off first with the Path of the Goddess reviews. Now, when people think of Capcom, most of the big games they think of are like Resident Evil, Street Fighter, and of course Monster Hunter, which is really sort of blown up for Capcom, to be exact. But at the same time, they have also been known to do, other franchises. Mega Man, which would like to see him make a comeback and everything like that. Strider, Final Fight, and every once in a while they'll also do basically some sort of put out a unique or smaller titles like, say, Beautiful Joe 1 and 2, or Okami, which is considered sort of like cult classic for a lot of folks, God Hand, to be exact though. And so it's sort of unique to see some of these titles every now and then from basically some big companies like Capcom and others that mostly do AAA titles, but it's nice every now and then to see them do something a little bit different. And Path of the Goddess is definitely one of those titles, to be exact though. Now, I first saw this during, I think, one of the Xbox's showcase, and I was very curious about this title indeed, though. It definitely had somewhat of an Onimusha vibe to it, but maybe not to the scale of like, the Resident Evils with swords or anything like that. So it was certainly a title I was sort of keeping an eye out, and hearing that it was coming to Game Pass was definitely something that I would take a look at also as well. So after playing the game for a bit on Game Pass, I will say it certainly is a niche title and one that may or may not appeal to folks depending on your preference and taste and all. So I'm going to break it down into the pros and cons, and we'll start first with the pros. I will say, visually speaking, the game doesn't look that bad, basically. To be exact though, the game is running on the RE engine and everything like that, but I definitely like the style, the Japanese look to the game that they've made in terms of some of the monster designs to basically some of the characters, wearing the mask and everything like that. So from a visual standpoint, this game does not look bad, especially on the Series S and everything. And also, I do like the idea in terms of the gameplay, this idea of combining basically sort of being an action game and somewhat of a tower defense game. The object for a lot of it is to get the goddess basically across the stage to basically this certain gate to basically unlock the level and everything like that. To do this though, you do have to sort of basically put up like a defense, everything like that, because the stages are split into two parts. During the day, you basically help build the defenses, finding secrets here and there in the level, but during the nighttime, this is where a lot of the monsters come out, and depending on where you place your soldiers and everything like that, they have to defend until, daybreak comes. In the meantime, you can move your character around, basically, attack any of the demons and everything like that, to healing yourself and basically your soldiers as well. So it's a kind of a mixture of like I said, tower defense and action game to a certain extent, and you also have to ensure that the goddess does not get attacked by any of the demons and everything like that. So I like the combination and the idea they did with this as well. It also kind of plays out in some of the boss battles you might encounter in the game and everything like that. Not to mention, you also have the ability to help, build, fix some of the villages and everything, and you want to do that to sort of help build up your, the ability to, level up some of your soldiers to make them more stronger and more powerful, to basically even leveling up your character yourself. There are several different varieties. Some I think like a axe wielding, others are like basically like a bow and arrow, and there's one that's sort of like a thief, which during the day helps find secrets, but during the night, or the thief is normally just useless and everything like that. But still, nevertheless, I like the idea of combining the action game with the tower defense. So I think it's sort of a unique approach they made for this game and everything like that. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get to part 2, which is the con. So we'll take a little break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part two of this double review of both Agatha Aulx and Path of the Goddess, and we're continuing off with the Path of the Goddess. So now that I gave you the pros, what do I give you the cons? And just like the pros, there are 2 cons I could think of, at least based on my time with the game, though. The first one I do want to point out is, so far, at least for the difficulty of the game, at least based on my time with it, it might be a little bit too easy for some folks out there, though. Some might find it difficult, others may not, but based on my time that I have with the game so far, I found that most of it just was a bit easy to a certain degree, though. Perhaps maybe if I go into some of the later levels, it might be more difficult, but for now, given where I am right now in the game, though, I do think it is a little bit on the easy side, to be exact, though. And last but not least, I do want to point out about the visuals, at least on the Series S. Now, I do think the game visually looks nice. I do like some of the art style to the game and everything like that. I don't think it looks terrible. But as far as it being on the Series S, I would say, it's okay. Is it going to look better maybe on a PC or the PS5 or the Xbox Series X? Yes, I will say that's probably going to be the case, though. But it's all right on the Series S to a certain degree. I don't know if maybe some of it is my TV or something, but whatever the case may be, though, I think the visuals are okay. Nothing spectacular, nothing fancy or anything like that. I think they just look fine, just not as good as what you're going to see on maybe the Series X or the PS5, or, if you're playing this on the PC via Steam, depending on your PC setup and so forth. So it's not a bad looking game, but the Series S is probably not the best looking version, to be exact, though. Overall, I will say I am enjoying Path of the Goddess, to be exact. I think it is a interesting title from Capcom. It is one of those smaller or niche titles, to be exact, or something hankering back to the PS2, Xbox, GameCube era, though, and I'm certainly not against Capcom doing this, making this game. At its best, though, I do think visually it's not a bad-looking game in any way, and as I mentioned, I do like the idea of them combining the action with the tower defense kind of approach to the game. But at its worst, I do think the game might be a bit too easy for some folks out there, depending on your play skill and everything like that. And while I don't think the game looks terrible in the Series S, though, I won't say it's the best looking version. But in either case, I definitely am open for Capcom doing more of these titles, doing some of these smaller AA or niche titles. To be exact, I definitely open for them to doing more of these in the foreseeable future and everything like that. It is a little bit unfortunate, at least with Capcom reporting, that the game did not meet sales expectation, which is, if true, is a little bit disappointed, because I would be open for seeing more titles like this from Capcom and all. That would certainly be great if they can do that, to be exact, though. So hopefully, despite the sales number, hopefully it doesn't discourage Capcom from doing more of these type of titles and everything like that. So overall, not bad, just not 100% perfect, though. I think it's good, but I do think it's sort of a niche title and everything like that. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to our third part of this double review, and this one is my take on my review/thought on Agatha all along. So we'll take a quick break and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with the second part of our double review. And for this one, I want to give my thoughts and my take on Disney Plus's season 1 of Agatha All Along. And as I mentioned before, for parents out there, it's worth pointing out that Agatha All Along is rated TV-14 here in the US and all. Now, one of the shows that premiered around the time when Disney Plus was launching was basically Wondavision, and it was definitely a very interesting show indeed. It was almost like each episode was like a throwback to old American sitcom shows, whether it was like from like the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, to like the 90s and everything like that and all, and you sort of learned what happened to the town under Scarlet Witch and everything like that. But also one of the villains, another person that was in there though was, Agatha, the basically the witch and everything that in a way was sort of controlling Scarlet Witch and everything like that. And at the end of that series though, she basically Scarlet Witch put some sort of spell on her and so forth to make her feel like she's part of, the neighborhood and everything like that. So it was kind of interesting to see here that basically Disney and Marvel was doing sort of another spin-off on it, to be exact though, of basically the character Agatha and all. And after watching all 9 episodes of it, I will say the show isn't bad in my view though, but I feel like it just doesn't reach the height that basically Wondavision did. There was some sort of like unique charm to Wondavision and all. So I'll break it down into what I like and what I didn't like, mixed, not 100% sure about. In terms of what I like, I will say Kathryn Haynes, if I'm saying her name correctly, I thought did a really good job, playing Agatha, Harkness, and all. I think her character is very interesting, including the first episode, which kind of felt like, an episode of WandaVision to a certain degree until she broke out the spell and everything like that. And her character can be somewhat funny and then serious and somewhat dark at the same time. So her character still is very interesting and all, and you do kind of see a bit of her, a little bit more of her character, including some of her backstory and everything like that. So, and the whole, Salem witch kind of theme behind it though. So it certainly was really neat how that one played out and all though. So I do think she did a great job playing Agatha Harris though. And I also do like how some of the witches' trials had kind of a certain theme to it though, especially some the spooky camp house in the 80s, and they're using the Ouija board and all too. I think it looked like a house, like a recording room from the 1960s and 70s though. So it's certainly interesting, some of the witches' trials they had during each of the episodes and everything like that. So I did like some of the witches' trials and all. Certainly, not all of them, but some of them I thought were very interesting and unique and all. As far as what I didn't like, mixed or not 100% sure though, I will say one of the characters, Miss Hart, played by Debra Jo Rupp, if I'm saying her name correctly, who plays the mom from, not only that 70s shows, but Netflix's that 90s show and all. I would say her character was just kind of tossed in there. She didn't really, it was really she didn't really have any part, and then they eventually killed her off and everything like that. And it just felt, to me at the very least, it felt like her character was sort of worthless to a certain degree. So I'm a little disappointed in terms of how they portrayed Miss Hart and all. And as far as the story go, I would say it was a hit and miss in some parts. Some parts I did like. I did like some of the theme to it, though, and some of the trials, though. But for me, as far as the story goes, while not terrible, I just don't feel it reaches the height that WandaVision had. I think WandaVision had a certain charm and a certain style that went with it, as I mentioned before, though. And I just didn't feel like that was there with Agatha all along. I don't think the story is terrible, but it's not as good as, say, WandaVision was, at least in terms of how I see it and everything. Overall, I think Agatha all along, to me, is not a bad show in any way, though. I do appreciate Marvel and Disney exploring more of this character and everything like that. I just feel like it just doesn't reach the height that WandaVision did and everything. At its best, though, I think the person who played Agatha, Harkness, did a really good job portraying that character. And as I mentioned, I think some of the stuff during the Witch's Trials had liked some of the certain themes of it. Some of it I felt like was a hit and miss, but I did like some of the themes to the Witch's Trial. But at its worst, though, I do think one of the characters, Miss Hart, they didn't really do much with her and all. And I will say, while the story isn't terrible in terms of learning who, Wanda Maximoff, basically finding out one of the person who happens to be her son, trying to find his brother and all. I think the story still is a hit and miss. Some parts I like, but I feel like it never reaches the height that basically WandaVision did when that premiered around the time when, Disney Plus was getting started all. But in either case, I don't think this was a bad show in any way. I think it was an okay Marvel show, at least in my book and everything. So I would say good, just don't expect it to be on the same scale as what WandaVision was, to be exact. At least that's how I'm looking at it, though. Okay, this concludes my double review of Path of the Goddess and Season 1 of WandaVision on Disney+. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Path of the Goddess, though? Do you like the idea that Capcom made this game in any way? Do you think they should do more of these niche or AA style games along with the AAA games that they have done before in the past? Do you like the idea of an action game mixed with sort of a tower defense kind of approach, though? And what are your thoughts about Agatha all along, though? Are you glad that she got her own show in any way? Do you think the show is as good as WandaVision, or do you think WandaVision is better? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You can do it through PayPal Me, Patreon, or Steam Labs. Links will be in the description of this video, so you're watching this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!